Yes, my people, as it hot, it don't happen. So Tinubu don't see us Nigerians finish. So now we, or rather now people when they chat us and they want vote abi, we may want vote now. You not grant us interview, but you go grant Chatham House interview. Aras TV, they don't break down all what he do yesterday systematically. They talk said Tinubu appearance lack rendition. When I watch the video as I watch and just the share and they hit the like button. Maybe to go viral.
And knowing Bola Tinubu as a public, but from my public knowledge about him from the 90s, he hasn't really come as somebody who is an orator. You know, somebody who is exceptionally, who is eloquent, you know.
But to be honest, none of the candidates come across as orators.
Yeah, that's fine. But you know, he hasn't really come as somebody that you identify, you see him as a great public speaker, you know, but at least he manages to put his points across, you know. And of course, if we are having that highlighted now because he's going for the highest office in the land, it's probably because when you're looking for that kind of central office, you know, you come through greater level of examination. But at this stage, I think it is also helpful for us all to begin to manage our expectations, you know. When it comes to Peter Obi, for instance, I'm expecting precision, I'm expecting statistics, I'm expecting confidence, calmness, you know, maybe a systematic or above average rendition of his thoughts, you know. When it comes to Atiku, I expect some methodological presentation of his thoughts, even though they are shortfalls in logic, but I see an ability to marshal his thoughts, you know. And so is Rabi Musa Kwankwan, so I expect some systematic rendition of thoughts. But when it comes to Tinubu, I may lower my expectation a little bit, not because I'm denigrating him, not because I probably do not like him, but because I also want to manage my psychology, knowing that he falls short in terms of an ability to communicate effectively. But that does not take away some kind of quality, some other qualities that he will have. And this is the point I really want to make. I remember Stephen Hawking, for instance. He was a great scientist, you know, who was greatly impaired. He was incapacitated, but of course his thoughts were very rich, and science was able to harness his thoughts and produce them into great books, you know, that influenced science a lot, that influenced physics a lot. I also remember Christopher Reeves, you know, who also who had impairment, but of course he was also excellent in his thought. What about FDR, you know, one of the greatest American presidents? You know, he was incapacitated, but he led America and became one of the greatest presidents to lead that great country. Perhaps we should begin to understand Senator Bola Tinubu within that perspective, and maybe manage our own expectation, probably lowering it. I do not expect too much from him in terms of eloquence, in terms of locution, in terms of maybe oratory and such other things. Perhaps we should look for other things to judge him.
Well, you have points, but I think Nigerians are looking for something more this time, not less.
But again, we do not even have to take Panadol for that, you know, because it's not the only one contesting. There are 17 others. So if we think that, you know, we are not seeing what we want in him, there are other options. Right, there are other options.
Yeah, that's
so
a good point.
Why should we really worry about his imperfection? You know, it's a disadvantage to him rather than to the rest of us, because we have options, and of course it's a democracy. You know, there are so many. We have a range of opportunities, range of chances, a range of alternatives that we can select from.
But of course,
as the case could be.
Professor Usman Yusuf would beg to differ, and I wonder what you make of his own assessment of that performance. First of all, coming on the back of Mr. Tinubu refusing to appear at the Arise town hall in Nigeria, something that was done not just by Arise, but by a whole slew of media across the board. He seemed to think that was a continuation of what we've seen from President Buhari, this delegation of responsibility and sort of ignoring the people who you really should be building a rapport with if you expect them to vote for you.
These are genuine concerns, you know, and there are so many angles to it. So many angles will keep coming up, you know, as we go along. Genuine concerns, no doubt, because probably because Usman Yusuf supporting Atiku, no doubt. I mean, very clearly so.
Yeah, he is.
I think concern is right. He's having concern for Tinubu because Tinubu, you know, stands a good chance amongst the
he's a front runner.
You know, four candidates, one of the front runners, and that's why this concern is also there. But again, you know, sometimes you may not necessarily take decisions yourself. You may delegate it, and you find the person carrying out the responsibility, being excellent at the task you have given him. That's a possibility.
Yeah, but
But again, what we want, rather, and that's why I'm talking about managing our expectation. We rather want, a president, who's got the cadence, who's got the confidence, who's got the ability, the knowledge, and the power of expression. Because there's confidence, there's a way you can generate confidence or transmit it. When you are confident, when you see confidence in you as well. But in the situation that we are not seeing it, what then do we do? He has emerged on the platform of a major party. Do not forget, those in that party are not millions. These are intellectual, sophisticated Nigerians, governors, senators, and all of that. But they chose him. So probably they saw what we didn't see, and in choosing him as well, I think maybe they deserve some level of respect, for choosing him out of all the lots, So if that's what they are presenting to us, yes, the onus is now on us to accept it or say no to it, as the case could be.
Yeah, that's at the ballot box.
That's the point.
But I mean, what do you think? We've got about a couple of minutes or so left. What do you think of the fact that he refused to appear, for example, in the Arise town hall, which is focused, which Nigerians were watching, and all the other front-runner candidates appeared, but chose instead to appear at Chatham House in London?
No, it's very curious, it's very disturbing. It's not a situation that one would want. I don't like that situation, and I think it's something that can be resolved. And how do we resolve it? The series is continuing. It's just it's probably we're going to have a fourth, of the multi-part serial. So that one, there's still another opportunity, as the case could be. And if he chooses not to appear at Arise continuously, it's something that can also be resolved, because Arise, is a force, just like some other television station, that should be reckoned with, that should be reckoned with, most definitely. So if there are differences, it can be resolved, and that's the point we're making, because we're all stakeholders in the evolution of our democracy, and these big bats, these both sides, this mutual suspicion should rather stop, because we're talking about institutions, and of course the interaction of institutions is very important in the cementation of our democracy, as the case could be, Charles.
Well, I trust you to always be down the middle and be very fair and objective. Professor Abiodun Adeni is a political affairs commentator, Arise News analyst, and head of mass communications.